No! That's a good song and all, but don't start on the next song, iTunes. I'm not done with you here. Oh, it's getting all flashy. Good morning. So the verse I was focusing on this morning. Longest yawn maybe ever. He hath made him to be sin for us, that we might be made the righteousness of God. 2 Corinthians 5:21. And what it was kind of focusing on for me was that this whole central basis for Christianity is that God came in human form, or sent himself in human form, or his son, or that aspect of it is certainly confusing. The full nature of divinity, I don't know, nobody really knows. You can kind of speculate about and have fun with, but who the heck knows? But anyhow, he sent him as a man who lived with temptation, lived without sin. And as sin does in us or in the world, it delights in destroying innocence. Innocence and not only just innocence in the sense of not having knowledge of wickedness, but the absence of wickedness. It enjoys in destroying innocence and righteousness. So that's what it did, and he did that necessarily. As I've been talking about the love story aspects of it. It was funny today. Was like, okay, yes, but don't go too far with that. That was like Jesus didn't do that out of sympathy necessarily, but out of obedience to his Father, and because that's what he was made to do. I don't know. It was funny. This devotion I do is often focused on the practical side. I sometimes am like, oh yeah, but look at it like this, and it's like, wow. And they're like, nope, that's what he came to do. It's what he's supposed to do, and he did it. So anyway, I was focused on that aspect of it today. That it was just out of sheer obedience, and then that which he did on the cross, he came to save all, but not all would be saved. But that looking to his death and resurrection and his life, and just him and God, him through him God, or both, or whatever, that you might be a part of that salvation. And it's actually not through your own works or your own obedience or what you give up for him that necessarily gives you salvation. That all that actually just tends to be the blessing after. Accepting in joy. Wow, you did that for me? Wow, thank you. And then you don't even feel obligated then. You're like, if someone saved your life, you wouldn't be like, oh man, I gotta go to Starbucks and grab my coffee and drive a coffee over to his house because he saved my life. You'd just be like, ooh, what can I do today to make this person feel better, or make this person feel good, or just and then really, it's almost like an extra blessing, and that we're able to I'm able to run on in that and try to continue to be a blessing to people, and he's released me from my self nature, which is a pretty destructive, angry, brutal self. And he's making me, and continues to make me in his image, and make me what I am right now. So then my question was, I was wondering if anybody had a cool story maybe about the hardest thing they ever had to do, but they knew they had to do. The hardest, obedience to what you thought was right, but that was, that. What's the hardest thing you ever had to do? You didn't want to do, but you had to do, because you just knew you had to do it. Not that anyone necessarily was even forcing you, but you're just had to do it. Was it something you confessed, or was it, I don't know. What was it? Because we know that it was sort of hard for Christ. He was like, this is really going to hurt. This is going to be extremely painful, and I'm going to feel the absence of the holiness I've felt my entire life in this experience, and it's going to be just a scourge of my body and my soul to suffer this for these people who I'm called to love. So anyway, yeah. What's the hardest thing you've ever had to do, or sacrifice, or whatever? Holler at me. Beep.